Hi, I'm Bill Ferris, and welcome to 5-Minute Photo, and this is your nickel tour of Adobe Lightroom's graduated filter tool. Let's go inside. So I have Lightroom open on my desktop, and we're in the library module in a folder on the C drive called Test Images. You might recognize this photograph as Sully from Monsters Incorporated at Disneyland. It's a photograph I worked with in a previous video. But for this video, we want to work with a different photograph. I'm going to select this photo of Antelope Canyon, a slot canyon near Page, Arizona. Now to get into our Develop module where we're going to do the work, we can either click on the word Develop or press the letter D. So we're in the Develop module. Here's the photograph. It's a bit small for my taste, so let's go down to the bottom, click on this caret to lose the thumbnail display bar at the bottom to make the photograph a bit larger, easier to work with. Now to get our first graduated filter layer mask going, we can either click on this vertical rectangle tool or the great monolith icon, as I call it, or we can just type the letter M. So we'll type the letter M, and we're adding a new graduated filter mask. I'm going to start in the upper right hand corner where it's a bit dark. Going to click and drag across at an angle. So what I want to do is match the angle of that rock layer. Okay. We're going to make it brighter, so I'm going to go down to my exposure tool and click and drag across about 2 full stops. Now that's not super bright, but naturally this is a dark area and I don't want to lose the natural quality, the natural look captured in this image. And one thing I am noticing is right here in this, we've got a bit of an area of stone exposed. It's already fairly bright, so you'll notice that when I move my cursor away from the button for this layer and keep it along the center line, I get the double arrowed curved line. I can click and hold and I can rotate this whole layer mask about that center button point. And so we'll do that. We're also going to punch up the color saturation a bit, so we'll click and drag on that. Not going to try to do too much, and we'll also bring out some detail in the shadows. There we go. About something like that. And maybe we will click and drag this, make this just a little bit larger. There we go, something like that. All right, let's add a new layer. We'll click on the word New. And now we can add a second layer. We'll start from the lower left corner and bring this across to, about here. And again, we're going to adjust our exposure. I think we'll brighten it up just a bit, only about half a stop, I think. Well, maybe even a little bit less than that, 4/10 of a stop. We will bring out some detail in the shadows and make an adjustment to the shadows in this filter, and we'll also enhance the color saturation too, just to bring out a little more color. And I think that's going to be just about right. We're going to add one more graduated filter layer from the upper left corner. We've got this area here that's fairly dark, and we'll bring up that. Something like that, about 1.2 stops. Actually kind of like the saturation on that. And I don't want to try to bring out too much detail in the shadow because again, it's naturally kind of dark and I actually like the way that looks. So I'm going to just click on the monolith icon so we'll lose the display of the graduated filter layers that we've added. One thing I'm going to do is bring down the highlight intensity, particularly for this area of the photograph. So I'm going to scroll down, go to highlights, start dragging that down, and yeah, we're at about -90. I'm liking that. And so let's also, I think we're going to bring up the sharpening a bit, right about there, and click and zoom in. See how that's looking. Maybe take out just a touch of noise. There's not a whole lot of noise in here we need to deal with. I think at about 8 that's going to be good. Click and go back. And as a general rule, let's see what happens if we scroll up and do any more saturation work. There we go. Just bring up the whole saturation a wee bit and maybe check out clarity and use clarity to punch it up just a touch. All right, there we go. I think we've got an image that's showing significant improvement over the original look, mostly using that graduated filter tool. And I'll tell you, the work we're able to do in Lightroom with the graduated filter tool is very similar to the work I used to do in Photoshop and Photoshop Elements using layer masks. And as powerful as layer masks are, I think the graduated filter tool, it has a bit more versatility, it's more intuitive, I find it easier to work with, so it takes less time before I achieve the look I'm going for with a particular photograph. Well, that's it for this video. I'm Bill Ferris. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time on 5 Minute Photo.